Setting up your own emergency backup power system at your house can be an expensive proposition. But what if I told you that it doesn't need to be anywhere near as expensive as you've been led to believe? What we've done here at our place is I've taken thermoses exactly like this one and I've converted them into really high capacity batteries, and I've done it using things that I guarantee you already have kicking around your house already. Now, of course, sure, I've got lithium-ion and lead-acid batteries here that we use as well, but a huge component of our battery storage here at our place is in stuff that is so cheap to make, it's practically free. Hey everybody, this is Praxis. There are so many people in our world today that are just screaming at anybody who will listen, and a lot of people who won't listen as well, that we just have to go to renewables. We got to go to solar, we got to go green, or our world's just gonna collapse into crap if we don't do it. There's other people on the other side of that argument that just say we can't do it, it's impossible. You could never restructure our entire power grid to work with renewables. It's just, it can't happen, so we just absolutely should not do that. You get these two groups, they're both certain. One is we can and we must, and the other is we can't and we shouldn't. I think it's worth mentioning that probably the majority of people from both of those groups that are really 100% certain about their perspectives on solar and renewables, probably close to 100% of those people have never actually tried it themselves. I obviously, as you can tell from the house behind me, I am the kind of person that actually tries things out for myself, and solar works out great. A lot of people talk about, is it worth it? Are you ever going to get your money back on it? I installed the system, and after, I think it was like 4 years. After about 4 years, I paid off the entire system, and every year since then, it's just free energy, free energy, free energy. Now, is it 100% solar that I run my house off of? No, I still connect to the grid. Like if we have a cloudy day and it's just like kind of overcast, that's usually fine. And there's still enough sun coming down through the clouds, and we run off of that all the time. But when you have like really thick, dark, cloudy days, and especially like multiple cloudy days like that in a row, we'll just pop back to the grid, but that's probably about 5% of the time. Like 95% of the time, we're running off of solar. So what does that mean? That means if you spend about $1,000 buying a certain amount of electricity, when I want to get that same amount of electricity that cost you $1,000, it costs me like 50 bucks, because $50 worth of that electricity I buy from the grid, and the other $950 I get free from my roof. It works out great. It is just, financially, it has just worked out so wonderfully. I can't comment on whether or not you can build an entire electric grid on solar. I've never built or managed an electric grid in the past. My only opinion on that is that in my experience, whenever people tell me that something I'm doing is impossible, and I get told that all the time, it never tends to be particularly difficult, to be honest. People say things are impossible all the time. I don't know whether it's possible to run a grid off of solar or not. I tend to think it probably is. I mean, human beings are clever. We could figure it out if people actually wanted to do it. Yeah, there's going to be hiccups along the way. Those will happen, and then people who don't want to do it, they're like, aha, look, there was a hiccup. It could never work. But, I'm relatively certain that people could do it. But that's not what I want to talk about in this video. What I want to talk about in this video is setting up your own small-scale solar or renewable setup. The big challenge, I think, with all this is the upfront cost, because like I said, it took me 4 years of creating my own electricity before the system had paid for itself. The amount of money I would have spent on electricity during that time was the amount that it cost for that system, and it's been good ever since. But there's that upfront expense, and a lot of times when people are sizing their systems, they're thinking about it in the wrong way. They're thinking about it as though, like, if I want to live my current lifestyle, but I want to run it off of solar, like, how many panels do I need? How many batteries do I need? Like, how big of an inverter, and how big of, how many charge controllers do I need? Those are the 4 basic parts of the system. A solar panel runs to a charge controller, which charges a battery, which runs an inverter, which gives you power out into your house. And a lot of times people think about those components as though they are just going to run their life the way that they normally run their life. So they end up doing the math, and they get this really huge system that they have to create. And then they're like, well, geez, I can't afford that. There's just no way that can happen. But with a little bit of rethinking about the patterns of your life, I'm not talking like giving things up. I'm just talking about like Well, instead of me doing this at this time of the day, I'll do it at this time of the day instead. It's just kind of, you know, like wiggling your schedule around a little bit and, you know, changing some of your basic life patterns. You can dramatically shrink down the necessity of your system, and you can store power in lots of different ways that I think a lot of people forget are ways of storing power. And I think that a lot of times people forget what the point of all of this is. Why are we capturing all this free energy from the sky? It's not just because it looks nice to have a battery with an indicator on it that says 100% full. You know, the point of all these panels and everything, it's not to store power in batteries. The point of all these panels and everything is to give you power for your life, to turn on a light, to turn on a fan, to turn on like a refrigerator or something like that. The point of the energy is to actually do the thing that you want to do. It's not just to you know, fill up batteries so you can be like 100% wonderful, you know. So if you keep that in mind, there are things you can do, and that's what I want to talk about in this video, things that you can do to store power in ways that are not using expensive batteries, and patterns that you can modify in your life that will allow you to get by just as comfortably with a system that is much smaller, and because it's so much smaller, will be a lot less expensive than the system that you might have thought that you needed. So let's get into it. There are two different methods that I use to live off of a solar electric system that a lot of people would tell me is too small for my purposes. The first method is to essentially just not waste power on things that don't give you any benefit at all. This technique is something that not only is useful if you are running off of solar electric power, but it's also useful if you just are buying power off of the grid, because it's a way of avoiding buying or creating energy for purposes that don't have any value to you. So that's the first thing that we're going to talk about. The second method that I wanted to talk about is exclusive to people who are generating their own power, and it boils down to that old adage that you make hay when the sun shines, and this is particularly appropriate when you're talking about solar power. What this means is that when you have a solar electric system that is a little bit smaller, especially if the battery bank is a little bit smaller, and that's a situation we have at our place. We have 10 kilowatt hours of batteries, and a lot of people would say that's just way too small to run a whole house off of. A lot of times what happens is that in the middle of the day, our battery bank's just full and the sun's still shining, and it's kind of use it or lose it, because the sun's hitting the panels and the panels got nowhere to put their energy. So what we do is during the peak of the day, there are things that we do to try to capture that energy in ways that are not lithium-ion battery banks. And we're going to talk a little bit about that second. But first, let's talk about things that's appropriate to everybody, and that is how to get the same bang for your buck, but not waste energy and waste money utilizing electricity for things that don't even give you any benefit. Whether you're getting your electrical energy from a solar voltaic system on your roof or from the power grid, it doesn't make any sense to waste that energy. If you're wasting energy from your solar electric system, you have to question, well, why did I build such a giant solar electric system just to throw all that energy away? And if you're buying it from the grid, again, it's the same kind of thing. Why did I buy that power just to have it throw away for no benefit? The way that you tend to throw away electrical energy is if it is being used in a way that gives you no service or no value. And here's a really good example of that. This box right here is a timer. This is a timer that is set up in line between our electrical panel and our hot water heater. Now, our hot water system here at the house, it's kind of a hybrid. It gets some energy from thermal solar panels that are on the roof of our shed, but if there's not enough solar heat to heat those panels, it also has electrical elements so that it can bring water up to a proper, safe, working operating temperature. If you want to do a deep dive on why I'm saying a safe hot water temperature, just look up Legionnaire's disease. You want to keep your hot water tank at like a kind of a certain level, otherwise you can grow Legionnaire's disease in there. That's another topic for another video. If you want to look it up, you can check that out using this wonderful internet that we all have. But the point is that we are heating our water both with electricity and with direct solar energy. And I found that we were wasting a lot of electrical power heating water that didn't really give us any value. Now, what was the circumstance that led to that? Well, here at our place, there's 3 people living here, and people tend to take showers in the evening. So we would take a shower, and the way a electric hot water heater works is that when it notices that more cold water is moving into the tank to displace all the hot water that has already left the tank, it sees that the temperature of the tank has gone down, so it kicks on its electrical element to bring things back up to temperature. So people would take showers at the end of the day, and the hot water tank would notice that the temperature of the tank had gone down, so it would turn on the electrical element and would try to reheat that water. Now, so there's a couple of problems there. One of them, and this is applicable to you whether you have a solar electric system or not, one problem is that you're heating up the water immediately to just sit there at full temperature the entire night. Yeah, and nobody's even using the hot water anymore. So it would just, let's say it's like 8 o'clock at night, people take a shower, and then like maybe 8 in the morning the next day, people might start using water. So that's like 12 hours of a hot water tank heated up to full temperature for nobody to use it for 12 hours straight. And honestly, most of the day, people didn't really need that much hot water. We use a little bit for washing dishes, but beyond that, we didn't really need much hot water. So it was really probably about 22 hours of hot water sitting at full temperature in a tank, and nobody even needed it in there. Now, why is that a problem? You figure, well, you're going to be using it again anyway, so why not reheat it early? Well, the reason is because when you have higher temperature differentials between the inside of the tank and the outside of the tank, it loses heat more efficiently. Efficiency is something that people tend to strive for in their lives, but you don't want efficient thermal loss of hot water that you're trying to keep warm. So the lower temperature hot water in a tank that isn't heated up to the full temperature that you would want for showers or whatnot, it's going to be losing heat less effectively to the outside of the tank. And that's a good situation. You want your tank to be losing heat less effectively to the outside environment. So many reasons for that. One is so you're not wasting energy heating water, just have that heat lost. The other reason, if it's the summertime and your house is a situation where you can find it's maybe too warm, or you might be air conditioning, why would you want to be paying money, if you're buying it from the grid, to heat water, to lose that heat into your air, just so your air could be too hot, so you can pay money to run an air conditioner to cool that air back down. So it was really inefficient, it was really wasteful, and especially for us running it off of a solar electric system, it just didn't make sense because we don't have a lot of energy at the end of the day. At that point, we're just running purely off of our batteries. So it made no sense for us to take showers and have the water immediately heated back up to temperature. So what I've done with this unit right here is that I've set it with this little timer device so that between 10 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, that's when this allows electrical energy to go over to our hot water tank. Now, the solar parts of that system, the solar thermal panels, they just grab energy whenever whenever the energy is available outside. So that part of the system runs all the time. But this just runs to the not high voltage. Is it high voltage? It might be high. It might be 220. I'm not sure. But the high amperage electrical heating element. This is what that controls. So what this creates a situation where it's only throwing electrical energy into our hot water when we have tons of extra electrical energy because we've got sun and it's hitting our panels. You want to be making your hay when the sun shines, so when the sun is hitting our electrical panels, that's when we allow that extra surplus of energy that is beyond what our batteries can hold. Generally, that's the case most days. After a couple hours, our batteries are recharged for the morning and they just stay topped off all day. So when we have extra superfluous power that we have nothing to do with, that's when we run it into our hot water tank. And we do that for all sorts of things all throughout the house. I love this is just a really small timer. It just plugs into an outlet. I run these for dehumidifiers, for venting that goes throughout the house, anything that you don't need to run all the time. Timers are a really great way of kind of focusing the energy use when you want it to be used, so that it's not just wasting energy constantly all the time. Like I said, like for hot water, heating it up so it can just sit and be hot, while everybody's asleep and not using it all night. And also, if you are running off of a solar electric system, you can set your timers so that certain things that don't need to go like all day long, you can have those kind of things turn on when it's the middle of the day. So you know that you're going to tend to have plenty of electricity at that point. So in that way, you can have a system that's a lot smaller, and it doesn't need nearly as much in terms of battery bank, because you're focusing your energy use just on the times when you have the power to do it and when you need it. The other method that I use here at our place to try to get as much mileage as I can out of our solar electric system is to, like I said at the beginning of the video, make hay when the sun shines, and to store that hay, that energy, into various forms that are not chemical batteries, like lithium-ion batteries or lead-acid batteries. This right here, and I know I was teasing with this object at the beginning of the video, this is a battery. It's a thermos, but it's also a battery. The way that I turn it into a battery is that in the middle of the day, when I have plenty of sun energy, like around noon when I'm making my lunch, I'll put on a pitcher of 2 liters of water, I'll get it up to boiling, and I'll pour it in here. And that's it. That's how I turn this into a battery. This stores that 2 liters of water at about 212 degrees, and then I can use it throughout the rest of the day. In the evening, I have hot water. If I want to have hot water for boiling for making pasta or rice, or just having some tea. The amount of electrical energy that is required to bring water from our well, it's about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, up to 212 degrees Fahrenheit, boiling, it's about 1/5 of 1 kilowatt hour. So this thermos here holds 1/5 of 1 kilowatt hour. If I had 5 thermoses, that's 1 kilowatt hour of energy stored. Now, I know that kind of sounds like a bit of a cop-out, like it's just sort of like wordplay, and I'm just sort of like effing with you. But if you think about energy, not as just like energy as watts and volts and filling up lithium-ion batteries, but energy is energy that you use for different purposes in your life. I think this makes an awful lot of sense. It's a lot more direct, it's a lot lower tech, it's a lot less prone to mechanical failures, electronic failures. It's a heck of a lot cheaper, and it gets right to the point of what you actually want to do with energy, is to do stuff with it. I don't want chemical energy in a battery intrinsically for its own value. Like if I look at my 10 kilowatt hour battery array and it says 100%, that's nice to see there, but that doesn't intrinsically do anything for me. I need to use that energy to heat water, to cook with, or to bake with, or to run a fan, or to run a cooling system, or run a monitor, or run a camera, or a light, or whatever. You actually want to do something with that energy. So if you kind of skip around the chemical storage part of the equation, where you're not storing it in lithium ion blah 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 or lead acid whatever, and you're just going right to the point of what you want to do with the energy, it's a great way of kind of storing that energy, and it's a really it's a nice way of kind of thinking about it. Like I said, middle of the day, I will fill up this thing, so I have it for the evening. So later on in the evening when it's dark and the sun's already gone down, I don't have to draw energy out of my electric battery, my lithium iron phosphate battery, in order to heat the water, because I've already stored 1/5 of 1 kilowatt hour of hot water in this thing. In the same way, there's all sorts of other things that we do, like when the sun shines. For example, doing laundry. Like if you're going to be washing clothes, there's an energy investment in taking dirty laundry and making it clean, whether it's physical energy of you actually doing it with your own arms, or electrical energy, running washing machines and things like that. Whenever we're doing laundry here, we do it not in the evening, but we do it in the middle of the day when there's plenty of sun out. Our batteries are all maxed out, and I'll say, hey, let's use it or lose it with the energy we got coming from the sun, so let's wash some laundry. Other things, like heating water, washing laundry, vacuuming a floor. I don't vacuum in the evening. I vacuum when there's sun out and we've got more energy than we know what to do with. Taking a dirty floor and turning it clean, whether it's the energy of your muscles, sweeping it, or running a vacuum cleaner, using electrical energy to turn into physical energy, it's an energy investment. So in the same way that this can be a battery, so too can clean laundry. That's a way you've stored energy in that clean laundry. A clean floor, another example. Even cooked food. If you were to cook food during the day when you have plenty of energy from your solar electric system, and your batteries are all filled, and then you store that food in some kind of a warm environment. Here we have this big puffy kind of pillow thing where I could make a stew, cook it during the day, and then put it into this little enclosure, and that'll keep it warm for hours and hours. Cooked food is another way of storing energy. It's essentially a battery. So if you think about kind of what energy is and what it means to you and what the point of it is, there are all sorts of ways of storing energy that have nothing to do with expensive, well, that's kind of redundant, but I'm going to do it anyway because that's it's important. Expensive, high-priced, high-tech batteries that you have to buy, and they can have technical issues and things like that. Something like this, I'm never going to have like an error 7 on this. Call the manufacturer. There's an E7 error or something like that. When we can store energy in ways that are kind of simple and direct to the point of what you want to actually get out of that energy, it's a great way of kind of reworking your life in a way where you can kind of get the same ends, but with less inputs. And if you need less inputs, then you don't have to buy as much inputs. You don't have to buy as many batteries. You don't have to buy the same size charge controllers. You don't have to buy the same size inverter. You don't have to buy as many panels for your roof. So you can have a smaller solar system, but still get all the work that you need done with it. That's it. I hope you found this video helpful, and thanks for watching. Please subscribe for new videos all the time. And if you'd like to support this channel, you can do so either through Patreon or PayPal.